When Kyrie Irving left Cleveland, one thing was on Kyrie Irving's mind, and that was becoming the Nightwing of the NBA. He wanted to be his number one go-to guy, the guy that all the franchises want to build around. And if you guys don't know who Nightwing is, it's basically Nightwing is Robin, and we all know the story of Batman and Robin. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, is that type of deal. But with this situation, it was LeBron James as Batman and Kyrie Irving as Robin. But we all know the story of, and I'm sorry DC fans if I'm telling the story completely wrong, but this is just my version of it. But Robin was wanted to be his own man, wanted to be his own superhero in his own town. So he decided, you know what, I'm here to move on from Batman. I want to become my own guy, which led him to be dubbed as Nightwing. The same thing happened with Kyrie Irving, right? If we remember, Kyrie Irving said, you know what, I want to be traded. I want to be the number one guy. If you don't trade me, I'm going to sit out with surgery because I have to get surgery on my knee. A little bit of a shady tactic from Kyrie Irving. I still don't respect him for that because I think he could have went about it a different way. But nevertheless, he got traded to Cleveland, to Boston. And we all know the story. The rest is history. But now it looks like Kyrie Irving is feeling the frustrations that a LeBron James or a number one star player on the team feels when their team is not performing to their expectations. We all remember last year, Gordon Hayward got hurt. It was a very horrible incident, horrible injury, and it led to the Boston Celtics playing a little bit better. It led to them, galvanizing together to make sure that they can fight against the other opponents, and it led to the end of the season where Kyrie Irving himself got injured from the 2014 finals. That injury came back to bite him in the butt again as the metal in his knee just infected, and he was out for the rest of the playoffs. And this just led to the Boston Celtics having that playoff push, and I'm not going to get too much into that story because you all know the deal here. But now the expectations are here for the Boston Celtics, right? They were expected to be a finals team, a contending team, a number one seed in the Eastern Conference now that LeBron James is gone, and their expectations was to get to the NBA Finals, and my expectation for them was to actually beat the Golden State Warriors because I think that they have the team right now to do that. But it actually hasn't gone the way that they hoped for. Right now, they're in the 5th place, and a couple nights ago, they lost to the Orlando Magic 105-103, with Kyrie Irving saying that the Celtics can't be complacent with the 5th place seed. He had to say this: we had nothing to lose last year. No one had any expectations. We come to the season with expectations, and it's real. That's new. It's tough, and it's hard, and we're going to face nothing. We are facing what is nothing compared to being on that stage, trying to get to that gold trophy. It's hard now. What do you think it's going to be like when we get to the finals, Kyrie Irving said. And he goes on to say this as well: we're trying to play a position right now to get a great seed. That should be our number one goal. But what steps do we need to hit? That's a goal first. Just getting a seed. We can't be comfortable in being 5th. I'm not comfortable, Kyrie Irving said, in being 5th in the 5th seed. So now I have to get back to reworking things to think about how I attack each and every day. Now, to really attack this quote that Kyrie Irving said, one thing that I have to point out for you, Mr. Kyrie Irving, is the fact that this is what you wanted, right? This is when you went away from LeBron James, wanted to become your own man, you wanted to be the leader of the team. Last year, there was no expectations. Jason Tatum just got drafted. There wasn't any high expectations on him. We knew he was going to be a good player, but there wasn't any expectations on him after you got hurt and he became the number one option on the team. And we all know that Gordon Hayward got hurt and he's coming back now. And he's still trying to get back some of that explosiveness, some of that basketball IQ that he kind of lost. I mean, not saying that you lose your basketball IQ, but he's trying to get back to fast twitch muscles again, trying to, get to where he was in Utah. But right now, the Boston Celtics are in a bit of a pickle because it just seems that all these guys are frustrated with one another, and I think that they need to let this frustration go. They need to talk this out. They need to have a players only meeting and then a coaches meeting with them, just because I think what this will do for the Boston Celtics is that it'll let everybody be they'll realize what's going on with this whole situation. I think Brad Stevens needs to do a better job of splitting up the minutes in terms of, I wouldn't give Gordon Hayward all those minutes that he's giving him. I believe he's averaging like 26 minutes a game. If I'm Brad Stevens, I'm going to give I don't know why I said Jason Terry, but Terry Rozier, I would give Terry Rozier those minutes instead of Gordon Hayward. We all know that Gordon Hayward's injury was a freak accident and something crazy that hopefully, praying to God, knock on wood, that we never see again for any NBA player. But at the same time, I think that they need to be realistic. They need to move forward with all this stuff because I think that holding on to Gordon Hayward being an NBA superstar, paying him all that money, I think it's just going to lead you down this slippery slope to where your expectations were here, getting to the NBA Finals and beating people, to we're just going to make the playoffs and we're happy to be there. I think this Boston Celtics team, like I said, it was a oven-baked process, not a microwave process. And right now that the oven is done, that's ready to cook, but we see that it's a little undercooked in some of the features of the cake. We're going to just compare the Boston Celtics to a cake in the oven. It looks like it's a little bit uncooked. And I just think that right now the Celtics are a little bit uncooked, and it's just because of Kyrie Irving needing to step up as a leader. I know that Kyrie Irving is a great player. I know that he is one of the best handles, one of the best finishers at the rim, one of the best closers in the game. But one thing is missing from Kyrie Irving's game that he wanted to be since he wanted to become Nightwing of the NBA was the leadership. I think his leadership needs to improve and take a step further. I know that he's a great guy. There's nothing wrong with Kyrie Irving in terms of being a bad teammate, but I just think he needs to be a better leader if that's what ultimately his goal wants to be, right? He wants to be a guy that they build a franchise around. They want him to be, the poster child. But how can he be the poster child if he's not taking that leadership role? We know that Al Horford, I watched a little bit of The Jump earlier today. They kind of deemed him the dean, right? He's supposed to be the dean, the head person of that organization in terms of a player role. But I just think that instead of having Al Horford do that, because we know Al Horford's persona and attitude isn't to be like that. It's to be more calm, reserved, relaxed, be even keel under pressure. And I think that Kyrie Irving, like I talked about, he needs to step up. I mean, this is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The one thing with Kyrie Irving is that he's averaging a little bit, he's averaging the same amount of points as his career. He's averaging more rebounds, more assists, and he's actually shooting a very good 3-point percentage. I mean, 39 is not bad. It's about average. And then 48.9, let's say 49%, almost 50% from the field, with his efficiency field goal being up as well. I just think that Kyrie Irving's in a fine position. It's just sometimes I feel like Kyrie Irving can get out of the offense a little bit in terms of what Brad Stevens wants and kind of does his own thing, which kind of leads the other players to do that as well. Guys like Jason Tatum, who we all know dunked over LeBron James. He had a great celebration, but this season it's looking like he's taking a little bit of a step back. And I just think that that's just due to a sophomore slump. I think Donovan Mitchell is also going through the same thing. Some of these rookies are just going through it. I think even Ben Simmons, to some degree, has regressed a little bit in his sophomore season. I know, taking shade at Ben Simmons, but I think that Jason Tatum also needs to step up as well. And just looking at this Boston team, and then also the Jaylen Brown and Marcus Morris incident, I'm glad that those two had that problem, because I think this will kind of hopefully, during the All-Star break, when everyone gets a couple days off, except for the guys that are playing in the All-Star game, hopefully this will lead to them kind of deciding, you know what, let's recharge, let's regroup, because we all know that 82 games is a lot of games, and we all know that with these championship contending teams, sometimes you don't want to play up to the level of your competition, and that's what I feel like the Celtics are doing. We've all been a part of that team. We've all coached or played on a team that plays to the level of their competition, right? We all seen the team that plays at when it's a bad team, they play at a bad level. When it's a good team, they play at a good level. For example, the Boston Celtics played at an awesome level on not New Year's Day, but Christmas Day against the 76ers, and they played a really bad game and, played and kept the Orlando Magic alive in that game a couple nights ago. I think that's what the issue is with the Boston Celtics, and Brad Stevens needs to do a better job of addressing that issue, because I think when you have an issue like that on the team, it really causes a lot of people for concern. And their 3-point percentage, I don't think has been that good. The whole team, I should say, has not been that good. And the real question is going to be for the Boston Celtics, and even Boston Celtics fans, I want to ask you guys, what should the expectation be for this Boston Celtics team now that we're almost halfway through the season? Should it still be NBA Finals and getting the championship, or should it be just happily being in the playoffs and letting guys like the Toronto Raptors, the Milwaukee Bucks, and the 76ers just kind of run them over? That's what I think they need to do. They need to ask themselves that question. What type of team do you want to be? Do you want to be a team that everyone had the expectations of getting to the finals? Is that the ultimate goal this year? Or is it to get to the playoffs and eventually gradually build up this team? In my opinion, I think it should be the first part of it, because we know that what this team is capable of. Last year in the playoffs, they kind of shot themselves out of it with too many threes, in my opinion. But they were still in that Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals and were just a couple shots away from actually going to the NBA Finals. I think that this team is good enough to get to the NBA Finals and actually beat the Golden State Warriors. They always play the Golden State Warriors close. Like I said, play to the level of their competition. But it's all about how you deal with the scrappy teams, the teams that are trying to contend for the number 1 pick, the teams that are trying to be out of the mid-card purgatory and wanted to become a little bit into that playoff team, the 8th seed, the 7th seed. Meanwhile, these teams are kind of stuck in that 9 to 14, well, I would say 9 to 12 range is what they're stuck at. Those are the teams that you have to beat if you're the Boston Celtics, if you want to go on to win an NBA championship. Because then what it shows me is that you have resilience and grit to get the stuff done. Grind out that game. Grind out those games. And I think that Kyrie Irving right now needs to be, like I said, a better leader and tell this team, you know what? We're better than this. We need to do a better job, because if we don't do a better job, we're just going to be another footnote and an asterisk in the NBA sphere and Twitter. Everyone had that expectations of us getting to that NBA Finals, but instead we're bickering, we're arguing. Instead of doing all that, Brad Stevens, Kyrie Irving, I think those two need to have a heart-to-heart or a meeting with one another if Kyrie Irving is your number one option, or the guy, the Nightwing, I said, of the NBA, and talk about how you can motivate this team. What can you guys do to make sure that this team does not lose this opportunity that I believe that this team has, especially with Kawhi Leonard? We're not knowing where he's going to end up. You have the chance to win this conference many times over if they do the right things, but that's going to be the biggest question. And like I said, guys, that's what questions I want to ask. What is the expectations of the Boston Celtics now that they've been through this part of the season? Is it still a championship, or is it just to get to the playoffs and be happy to be there? But anyway, guys, this has been your boy Bernie here on The Charge, giving the latest NBA news and rumors and also basketball opinions. And guys, if you have not hit that subscribe button, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button to make sure you get our NBA content. We, of course, have videos on fixer-uppers, on team news and rumors, the Luka Doncic stuff. We all know that The Charge is the fanboys of the Luka Doncic train. We all know what he is. That's just a little side note there. But anyway, guys, like I said, hit that subscribe button, hit that like, thumbs up. Anyway, guys, catch you later. Peace.